notre plateau en plus.
Mais oui, tout est bien, tout est prêt.
Bah, tu sais, c'est vraiment également. La dernière fois, on avait le son sur l'iPad.
Ah, mais tout à fait, mais ça fait partie. On saura que la prochaine fois, il faut qu'on teste au moins une demi-heure avant.
C'est pour ça qu'il faut le faire 10 fois, comme ça on aura fait 10 merdes.
Ah oui, ça fait partie du test, quoi. Cette fois-ci, on va enregistrer ou pas?
Ouais.
Si c'est simple.
Tu sais, au pire, on les ramène ici. Et puis on le fait.
On les ramène là? Bah ouais. Mais ils auront pas le graphic package, quoi, c'est ça?
Ouais, attends, j'ai trouvé une.
S'ils n'ont pas le graphic package,
Easy
c'est ça.
solution. C'est bon, j'ai une autre solution.
Ah.
Ouais. Donc en fait, ce qu'on va faire, c'est qu'on va directement tout simplement passer par YouTube, il n'y aura pas le chat.
Ok.
Mais.
C'est pas grave s'il n'y a pas le chat. Il n'y aura pas le chat du coup comme ça. D'accord. Enfin, bon. Tant pis.
Ouais. Dommage. Donc Goran, non, ne peut pas résoudre le truc.
Il m'a dit moment, qui pour moi en fait veut dire qu'il
Il ne sait pas.
il va essayer de faire. Il va essayer de résoudre la chose.
Ok. Est-ce que tu as le lien du YouTube et puis on va le renvoyer et comme ça on.
Ouais. Je vais lui laisser encore 2 minutes.
Ok.
Ouais, c'est bon, on l'a. Je te l'envoie par Slack.
Ouais. Ah, c'est ce qu'il a envoyé? C'est ça? Bon,
Ouais.
vas-y, envoie-le-moi et.
everybody, I'm Vanessa, your wine advisor at Vivant. I'm happy to welcome you here in our online experience focusing on Burgundy. Our experience is interactive and we encourage you to participate. So who is with us today? Please send a message through your chat. And if you have specific expectation, I invite you to send a message through our chat and I will try during the session to answer most of your questions. So feel free to raise them up here anytime. So, who is here with us? We have Amici and Paul, Amandine, Marie-Odile maybe. You can interact with the Slack. I'm with you on Slack. Okay, throughout the experience we will also send you questions and you will receive answers and explanations instantly. But first, let me immerse you through the beautiful vineyards of Burgundy with these nice images. I hope you enjoy your immersion into Burgundy. So we will be together for almost an hour and I will guide you through your Burgundy experience and help you to learn about the influence of natural factors on wine, to understand the specificities of Chardonnay and Pinot Noir, to understand the notion of terroir, which is called climat in Burgundy, and also to understand Burgundy wine classification. We will also learn winemaking process for white and red wine, and we will understand how winemakers influence the style of wine, and learn about biodynamic agriculture compared to conventional agriculture. And of course, we are going to learn how to taste wine like a professional through the 5 wines you received in your wine box. So let's start then, and let me guide you through the region so you can understand where Burgundy is located and what are the main factors influencing the style of the wines we produce in Burgundy.
By high-speed rail, just 1.5 hours from Paris and 2 hours from Geneva. There are 5 deliciously distinct wine-growing regions in Burgundy: Chablis and Grand Auxerrois, Côte de Nuit, Côte de Beaune, Côte Chalonnaise, and Mâconnais. The main grapes cultivated in Burgundy are Chardonnay for white wines and Pinot Noir for red wines. Burgundy enjoys a temperate continental climate, perfect for viticulture and wine aficionados alike. Winter tends to be cold and crisp. Spring is gentle, but with a risk of late frost. Summer is hot and dry, and early autumn is usually mild and sunny. Overall, the temperature is cool, even on summer nights, and this is the key for bringing acidity, finesse, and complexity to our wines. There are 3 natural advantages for the vineyards of Burgundy. They are planted on fairly steep hillsides, from 200 to 500 meters in height, protecting the vines from heavy winds and rain. These hillsides experience only 700 to 800 millimeters of rain each year, substantially less than the
4, 3, 2, 1.
Before moving to our first wine tasting, I want to come back on a few natural factors that are key to understand our Meursault. The wine is made from Chardonnay grape. Only. Chardonnay grapes are the name, and the name Chardonnay originated from a Chardonnay village in Mâconnais in Burgundy. The earliest known reference to Chardonnay wine was written by monks in the year 1330. Chardonnay is now the most planted white grape variety in the world, thanks to the high reputation of Chardonnay-based Burgundy wines. Chardonnay is used for the production of sparkling wine in Champagne as well, but its reputation comes from Burgundy, where Chablis offers light body, unoaked, fruit and mineral wines, and Côte de Beaune offers full body, complex white wines aged in oak with fruit, butter, cream, and toast, sometimes nutty flavors. It's cultivated here in the village of Meursault, which enjoys a moderate continental climate, bringing ripeness and keeping acidity in the grapes. 2015 was a warm vintage with a hot summer, producing a wine that has a capacity to age for more than 10 years. So look at your tasting guide and let's go through it together. So on one side, you have a list of wine aromas and flavors you can find in the wine. It's not exhaustive, but they are classified into 3 categories. You have primary aromas, mostly flowers, fruits, vegetal, aromatics, and they are the expressions of terroir, which means the grape variety, the climate, and everything which is happening in the vineyard. Then you have secondary aromas, which are the expression of vinification, so everything which is happening between the grape and the bottle of wine. And then you have tertiary aromas. They are the expression of age, because your wine evolves. It evolves in oak barrels in the winery, but it also evolves in the bottle, and aromas and flavors are evolving as well. So let's pick wine number 1, and then let's look at the right page in your wine tasting approach. First, we are going to look at appearance. So bend your glass on a white background and look at the color of your wine. It's clear, it's not hazy, it's medium color, and it's lemon color. Then let's put our nose in the wine. The first thing we are trying to detect is there a fault or not? Meaning, is it corked or not? If it's corked, you're gonna smell wet cardboard. Is it the case? It's not in my glass, so it's clean. The intensity is medium to high. And what type of aromas do we get? We get fruits. I have citrus fruits, lemon. I have pear as well, a little bit of peaches. But actually, the nose is more dominated by secondary aromas. We have butter, cream. We have toastiness, a little bit of vanilla, and a mineral edge to it, which is coming from the terroir. So that's about the nose. Then let's look at the palate. On the palate, we are going not only to assess flavors, but also the structure of the wine. So let's taste together. Our wine is dry. Actually, in Burgundy, we don't produce any sweet wine. So all the wine we are going to taste today are dry, meaning that there is no residual sugar in the wine. So it feels dry. The acidity is medium to high. Actually, thanks to the specific climate of Burgundy, where it's cool during the summer at night, especially, the grapes can retain a lot of acidity. So that's the acidity we have in our wine now. And it's very important because it balances with the alcohol, which brings a warm sensation in the mouth. There is no tannins for white wine, so we don't look at this. And then the body. The body reflects the mouthfeel. Is it very thin, silky, or is it bigger? Actually, this wine is quite rich and unctuous, and I would say the wine is full body. As for flavors, actually it's not really different from what we detected on the nose. So once again, we have fruits, but we also have a layer of cream, butter, toastiness, and a little bit of nuttiness that I find on the palate. So it's quite generous, complex. It's long as well. That's our last criteria. It's a long wine. That means it lasts, the sensation of the taste and also the acidity lasts quite long. So, a couple of questions now for you. Ah oui, du coup, je peux pas voir les questions.
What influences the style of wine?
So, what influences the style of wine?
Climate,
Climate,
grape variety,
grape variety, winemaking,
all of the above.
or all of the above? You can send it through Slack if you like.
The answer is?
And the answer is D. Yes, bravo. You all got it right, so we have 100% good answers. Next question.
The lemon, pear, butter, and toast nose aromas of your Meursault 2017 are the reflection of?
The lemon and pear aromas that we found in your Meursault is the reflection of
Winemaking
what
technique,
criteria? Winemaking,
grape variety,
grape variety,
aging time in barrel,
aging time in barrel,
aging time in bottle.
or aging time in the bottle.
Correct answer.
So the right answer is
Grape variety, B.
B. Yes, I've got two right answers. I've got A and B from Amici and C from Amandine. No, the right answer is B. Actually, it's a primary aroma. Both were primary aromas. So that's the expression of terroir. So it's not really winemaking. So that means it comes from grape variety and also the specific climate where the grape is coming from. So I hope you enjoyed this first wine tasting. In general, aromas and flavors are influenced by grape variety, the climate, the terroir, as well as winemaking techniques. So let's now look at white winemaking techniques in Burgundy.
The Chardonnay grape's journey to becoming a white wine of Burgundy begins with the grape harvest in autumn, before the first frost. After harvest, grapes are sorted, destemmed, and promptly pressed into juice. The sugars from this juice will be converted into alcohol through the process of fermentation. It's a pretty straightforward equation. Thanks to the magic of fermentation, sugar plus yeast equals alcohol and carbon dioxide. Each winemaker has their own style. Some will choose to ferment their wine in oak barrels, but most will choose non-reactive cement or stainless steel tanks for the initial fermentation. Each choice the winemaker makes will affect the finished product. Oak tends to add a spicy character as well as micro-oxygenation, while non-reactive vessels yield a more neutral, cleaner flavor. After the first fermentation, it's time to age and bottle the wine. In Burgundy, this aging process typically lasts from 12 to 24 months. It's a long and costly process that is essential to developing the sophistication and subtlety that white Burgundy wines are prized for. The wine is aged in oak barrel produced in Burgundy from locally grown oak trees. A single oak barrel can cost from 800 to as much as 1,000 euros.
So I'm very pleased now to introduce Emmanuel Sala, the winemaker of Château de Pommard of Clos-Marais-Monge. He's based in Pommard at the heart of Burgundy in Côte de Beaune. So let's discover together how passionate and dedicated Manu is. We are now on the ground in the cellar of Château de Pommard. So maybe you can talk a little bit more about the maturation of our wine in oak.
Alors, l'intérêt du bois, pour moi, ce n'est pas d'apporter une touche boisée ou toastée au vin, enfin l'intérêt principal, c'est surtout d'apporter une fraction d'oxygène tout au long de l'élevage du vin qui va permettre au tanin d'évoluer favorablement, de s'arrondir. Dans le jargon, on dit se polymériser. Vous avez remarqué que les vins jeunes asséchaient la bouche parce que les tanins ont cette propriété de précipiter les protéines. Et en se polymérisant pendant l'élevage, et après tout au long de sa vie, plus le vin sera vieux, plus les tanins vont perdre ses facultés. C'est pour ça que les vieux vins sont souvent beaucoup plus souples que les jeunes. Mais ne serait-ce que déjà travailler avec du bois, ça arrondit déjà énormément les tanins. Deuxième partie, c'est comme pour les vins blancs, ce que j'expliquais tout à l'heure, élevage sur lit. Les vins qui vont rester 20 mois, 22 mois sur leur lit, il y a une autolyse, les lits se désagrègent et libèrent dans le vin ce qu'on appelle des macromolécules qui vont apporter aussi bien au niveau aromatique qu'en complexité qu'en gras, quelque chose de beaucoup plus intéressant. Et puis traditionnellement, la fermentation malolactique aussi se fait en tonneau en Bourgogne.
So in the end, Manu, a little bit of philosophy. Do you think making wine is an exact science or is it more a state of art?
L'œnologie est une science exacte, mais l'œnologie n'est rien dans l'élaboration des vins. L'œnologue est au docteur, donc, et quand on a besoin d'un docteur, c'est qu'on est malade. Donc l'œnologie peut être une science exacte, la viticulture et la vinification, absolument pas. Et plus j'y vieillis, plus je me rends compte que c'est loin, mais vraiment loin d'être une science exacte. Après, un art, faudrait être vraiment d'une prétention sans nom pour se présenter, pour se prétendre artiste. Il y a un grand artiste, alors je ne sais pas si c'est le grand architecte de la nature ou si c'est la nature elle-même, l'artiste, mais en tout cas, le vigneron, il est juste un interprète. Alors on essaye d'interpréter le plus juste possible.
In terms of winemaking, what is really specific in Burgundy is the time spent in barrels. It influences the wine in a few ways. First, it micro-oxygenates the wine. This helps the wine to develop more complexity in terms of aromas and flavors. And also, it helps to bring acidity, alcohol, and aromas and flavors in balance. In the barrel, there is a natural fermentation happening. It's called malolactic fermentation. It softens the acidity and also it brings lactic flavors such as butter and cream, which are secondary flavors from winemaking. Now it's time to take a look at our tasting guide and taste the second wine together. So the second wine is a Ladois Premier Cru Les Gréchons. And we are going to follow the same systematic tasting approach. So first, we look at appearance. The color is quite similar to the first one, so it's clear, medium, and lemon, with a little bit of goldish ring. On the nose, it's clean, we don't feel any wet cardboard. The intensity is medium. Actually, I don't find the intensity as strong as the first one. It's much more delicate, much more in finesse, but also it's much more complex as well. First, I find notes of honeysuckle, a bit of lemon, some quince. It's actually fresher than the first one. We have a little bit of butter and cream, some vanilla, a little bit of bee wax. It's actually, I think it's not in your tasting notes, but as I said, it's not exhaustive, so you can feel free to add your own adjectives as well. We have different perception. So that's for the nose. Let's taste now. So what about the palate? It's dry. I think you understood. There is no residual sugar, and all of the wine we are going to taste are dry. The acidity is quite high. It's very refreshing. You feel it on the side of your tongue. The body is full. It's still a full body wine for white wine, but I find it slightly lighter than the first Meursault. And also, in terms of aromas and flavors, I think I get the same notes as what we got on the nose, but there is a clear mineral finish, this very clean finish, a little bit chalky, that I find very interesting. And in terms of length, it's very long. In conclusion, of course, you will judge the wine with your own criteria and decide whether you like it or not. But to evaluate objectively the quality, you can draw a conclusion based on 4 criteria: the balance of the wine, the intensity of aromas and flavors, the complexity as well. Do we have different clusters? Do we have different fruit clusters, secondary aromas and flavors, maybe sometimes tertiary? And finally, its length. So if you can take balance, intensity, complexity, and length, you are probably tasting an outstanding wine. So feel free to send me your comments on the chat about these first 2 wines that we just tasted. So what do I get from Amici? From Preston. Preston is typing. Amici as well. Oh, Amici preferred La Doigt Premier Cru. I totally agree. And Preston is thirsty. Well, we still have 3 other wines to taste, so we still have some time. Oh yeah, Preston has no wine. Okay, now let's talk about a notion that is really specific to Burgundy. In Burgundy, terroir refers to the unique and authentic interaction between the plant, an assemble of natural elements, and hard work by winemakers. It's the basis for our entire AOC system. Burgundy is composed of hundreds of climats reflecting the characteristics of each plot and making up a unique mosaic of vineyards. In Burgundy, there is a multitude of soils with more or less limestone and more or less clay content. The climats are the ultimate expression of terroir in Burgundy. Burgundy has 1,247 vineyards or distinct areas to grow vine. Each one has a different soil composition. It's a geological marvel. The soils vary dramatically from one plot to another. And this is very linked to the wine classification in Burgundy. In 1855, inspired naturalist and botanist Jules Laval wrote a classification of Burgundy wines. And the same year, Bordeaux established the celebrated classification of its chateau as well. The difference between Bordeaux and Burgundy region is mainly the fact that in Burgundy, the terroir, the soil is classified, not the chateau, not the property. As you can see on the pyramid, almost half of Burgundy wine are regional wine, with grapes coming from the entire region of Burgundy, from Chablis to Mâconnais. Within this category, you also find sparkling wines, Crémant de Bourgogne, Bourgogne Mousseux, and wine made from other grapes than Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. Bourgogne Aligoté, with Aligoté grape variety, or Bourgogne Passe tout Grain, which is usually a blend between Pinot Noir and Gamay. Then another half of the wine produced here are village wine. Wine with the name of a village on it. That's the case of the first two wines we tasted. Meursault is the name of a village, and Ladois as well. And only 10% of them have been classified as more premium with the mention Premier Cru. That was the case of our Ladois, which was a Premier Cru, with the name of the climat on it, Les Gréchons. So the appellation is the name of the village plus the mentioned Premier Cru. Finally, we have a very small proportion of our wine, less than 2%, that are Grand Cru. They have their specific appellation name, for example, Échezeaux, Corton, Musigny, Chambertin, Montrachet. They are high quality wines and they command premium price on the market. So it's time for us to illustrate different terroirs, and we are going to compare with glass 3 and 4 the difference between two terroirs. These two wines are made from the same grape variety, which is Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir is one of the earliest varieties of grape to be cultivated with the purpose of making wine. As early as the 1st century before Christ, ancient Romans were producing wine using the Pinot Noir grape. Pinot Noir is a complicated grape to grow, very fragile. It has a very thin skin, and that explains why the color of the wine is very light. If you look up, you can see the bottom of your glass, and this is very unusual for red wine. So when you see a light color, you can already think about Pinot Noir. Also, the skin brings tannins. So tannins in Pinot Noir are delicate and silky. So in general, for Pinot Noir, you will find a lot of red fruits, so we're going to see that. And with time, wines develop a complex bouquet of sweet spices, forest floor, sometimes mushroom, or wild gamey flavors. So, it's time to taste. So in terms of color, if we compare these two wines, on glass number 3 you have a Nuit Saint-Georges, and on glass number 4 you have a Volnay Premier Cru. In terms of colors, we have two different colors. Both wines are clear with a pale color, and glass number 3 is ruby, while glass number 4 is more garnet. Do you see the difference? So now, let's take glass number 3, or Nuit Saint-Georges, and smell it. Actually, here I find red fruits, I find cherries, but I also find black fruits, black currant a little bit. There is also a vegetal note to it. We call it blackcurrant bud. Yeah. A little bit of wood as well, oakiness, sweet spices, and I have a little bit of gamey flavors. On the palate now. The wine is dry. The acidity is medium to high, quite high actually. It balances with the alcohol level. And then we have a new component in red wine. We have the tannins. So the tannins, it brings the texture. You feel it around your teeth, and it's either very thin or quite heavy. So here we would say the tannins are, the level of tannins is medium to low. It's quite low, but it feels quite smooth. It's well integrated and very fine grained. So it's quite nice. In terms of body, we've seen for the white made in Burgundy, we have quite full body white wine, but it's the opposite for red wine. Because of the delicate and thin skin of Pinot Noir, we usually have very feminine, light body wine, red wine. So here I would say it's light bodied. We've refined all the aromas and flavors we had on the nose. So wet fruits, black fruits, some sweet spices. It's more cinnamon here. And a little bit of oakiness. And here, on the palate, we also have a little bit of cured meat, some meaty characters. And then in terms of length, it's actually quite long. It stays in the mouth, be it for the acidity of the wine or the flavors. So what do you think of this wine? Glass number 3. Did you like it or not? Yes, sorry, I drink too much, so I'm coughing a little bit. Apparently no comment. Okay, too spicy for Edward, fresh for Amici. Nice. So that's a typical wine from Nuits Saint-Georges. Now we are going to taste Volnay, Premier Cru. So on the nose. It's actually more pronounced in terms of intensity of aromas. But it's also a little bit more feminine. It's very floral with peonies, more red fruits. It feels cooked though. It feels a little bit warm. There isn't the vegetal character that we had on Nuits Saint-Georges. We also find sweet spices, cinnamon, maybe a little bit of licorice, and we find some oak. But I don't get any gamey notes. So, you see, we compared already 2 wines from the same grape variety, same winemaking techniques here in Burgundy, and we have 2 different profiles in terms of color, and also 2 different profiles in terms of aromas. So let's taste now. It's also much more intense on the palate. The wine is dry, there is a little bit less acidity compared to the first wine, and there is more body, more tannins. It's definitely more medium level tannins, a little bit, it's smooth but a little bit coarse, so it brings more texture and more mouthfeel, so more palate. In terms of flavors, it's also more generous. I have red fruits, black fruits, it's quite cooked, spiciness. It's really nice. And in terms of length, it's also long, be it for the structure of the wine and for the flavors. So now we have a couple of questions for you.
Remind me what's in your glass.
So, first of all, remind me what's in your glass.
Cabernet Sauvignon.
Cabernet Sauvignon,
Chardonnay.
Chardonnay,
Tempranillo.
Tempranillo
Pinot Noir.
or Pinot Noir. So what do I get? You are hesitating. It's actually answer D, Pinot Noir. Well, you might find it easy, but sometimes it might not be so clear. So, second questions.
What is the difference between these two wines?
What is the difference between these two wines, glass number 3 and glass number 4?
Grape variety.
Is it the grape variety,
Terroir.
the terroir,
Winemaking techniques.
the winemaking techniques,
Aging time.
or aging time? I get a B from Edward, yes. B from Amici. B. I get the price, yes, you're right, the price is the ID, it's also different. So the right answer is terroir, and then the price. And why is the price probably different between these two wines? Because Volnay is a premier cru. So you've seen on the classification that it's a higher grade, so it commands a higher price. Thank you, Preston, for this nice answer. So now, let me guide you through the production of red wine. And you will also get the chance to hear again from Emmanuel Sala, the fantastic winemaker of Château de Pommard.
But how does the winemaker produce a red wine? The biggest difference with white winemaking is the timing of the juice pressing. With red wine, the pressing won't happen until the fermentation is complete. Because the skins are not removed right away, they will impart color and characteristic flavor. Winemakers will run a few pumping overs or remontage, or punch down, which is known as pigeage. Agitating the stems, skins, and juice helps to extract color and tannins. And it is part of the winemaker's craft to know just when to use these techniques for the perfect balance. Once fermentation is complete, the juice in the tank is known as free-run wine. Now the red wine can finally be pressed. Once pressed, it is time to age your wine, and in Burgundy, that means aging in oak for the micro-oxygenation and spicy flavors it imparts. As for white wine, the winemaking process lasts between 12 to 24 months. The choice of oak affects the flavor of the wine. New oak imparts sweet and spicy notes reminiscent of clove and cinnamon, while old oak will soften the tannins and add a softer, mellow character. Oak barrels can be lightly toasted, which strengthens the surface without affecting the flavor of the wine. Or they can be medium to highly toasted to bring smokiness and cigar-like flavors to the wine. Each winemaker can choose to combine wines from different stages in the process, or from different aging vessels to create their own unique and perfect blend. Then it's time for bottling.
So we now end up our tasting flight in Pommard, which is a village located in the north of Côte de Beaune and which is also the name of an appellation dedicated to the production of red wine. No white wine is labeled Pommard. In Pommard, Clos-Marémonge Monopole, there are 7 microclimats within this single clos. So that's the wine, I'm talking about the wine we are about to taste in glass number 5. So, we have different plots, as you can see on the map, and they have a name. We have Simone, Chantrerie, L'Épaule, Grand Champ, 75 Rangs, Micot, and Émilie. Each plot has its own distinct soil type and microclimate. There are a total of 200,000 vines around the 20 hectares vineyard, and the vines range from age 30 to 111 years old. Chantrerie is actually the oldest, planted in 1906, and Miko is the youngest, planted in 2015. And what makes it very special is the way people in the vineyard take care of the vines. They follow biodynamic agriculture principles. But what is biodynamic agriculture exactly? Let us explain you with this short animation.
Château de Pommard began its biodynamic journey 2 years ago in Clos-Marais-Monge, a 20-hectare vineyard surrounded by a 2-meter high stone wall. A clos is a parcel of vineyard surrounded by stone walls. Clos-Marais-Monge is owned by a private family, and it is one of the largest private wine monopoly in Burgundy. But what exactly is biodynamic agriculture? Biodynamics is a holistic, ecological, and ethical approach to farming, gardening, food, and nutrition. This unique relationship to nature is rooted in the work of philosopher and scientist Dr. Rudolf Steiner, whose 1,924 lectures to farmers introduced a new way to integrate scientific understanding with respect for the underlying spirit in nature. Biodynamic farms and gardens are inspired by the biodiversity of natural ecosystems and the uniqueness of each landscape. Annual and perennial vegetables, herbs, flowers, berries, fruits, nuts, plus wild and native plants can all contribute to diversity, enhancing the health and resilience of the farm, which is understood to be a living organism. Diversity in domestic animals is also beneficial, as each animal species brings a different relationship to the land. Biodynamic compost is enhanced and enlivened through the use of 6 herbal preparations made from yarrow, chamomile, stinging nettle, oak bark, dandelion, and valerian. In addition to composting, several biodynamic preparations are used to bring healing, vitality, and sensitivity to the farm and garden. For example, horn manure enhances the life of the soil and the relationship between soil and plants, and is made from cow manure buried inside a cow horn during the winter months. Biodynamics farmers and gardeners observe the rhythms and cycles of the earth, sun, moon, stars, and planets, and they seek to understand the subtle ways that the environment and wider cosmos influence the growth and development of plants and animals. Biodynamic calendars enhance this awareness and understanding by providing detailed astronomical information and indicating the optimal times to sow, transplant, cultivate, harvest, and to use the biodynamic preparations. Biodynamic experts consider the position of the moon, whether it's waxing or waning, and its position in front of constellations, represented by earth, air, fire, and water, to decide when it's best to treat the plant with compost, dynamic preparations, and infusions.
So, about biodynamic, do you have any questions I could answer? Feel free to raise them. No, apparently it's clear for everyone. Thank you. That's great. We did a great job. So, back to what we have in our last glass number 5. we are about to taste Clos Marémonge Monopole 2016, which is actually the first biodynamic vintage of Château de Pommard, made 100% by nature. So, let's see. Let's first look at the color. It's still a pale color, but I would like to highlight that there is more concentration and a little bit more intensity. And the color is ruby. That means much more reddish. With garnet, you have a little bit more orange in it. It's still young. It's 2016 vintage. On the nose, it's clear, clean. It has a medium plus intensity, and we have a lot of complexity and finesse in this wine. So, where to start? We have some vegetal notes like blackcurrant buds. Then we have red fruits, raspberry, strawberries. They feel ripe. We also have spiciness, some saffron, and oakiness. To me, there is this sort of oriental perfume to it, like sandalwood, for example. And then we also have already some tertiary aromas, like forest floor, a little bit of meaty characters as well. I love that smell. It's very complex and interesting. So what if we taste? On the palate, it's dry. I'm sure we all agree on that. The acidity is medium plus. It's actually not. There is a great energy, but it balances well with the alcohol, and also there is more tannins on this wine. And why is there more tannins? Actually, it's a wine that is meant to be aged for quite some time. With age, I said to you that aromas and flavors change, but also the structure of the wine change. So the acidity will go down and the tannins will get smoother and smoother. So it's important for such a young wine to have some tannins to structure it and give him ability to age. In terms of flavors, I think I get everything I said on the nose. So a lot of complexity. It's really multi-layered. There is this nice energy coming from the acidity as well. It's very refreshing, and it lasts very long. I think I tasted it 1 or 1.5 minutes ago, and I still feel it. So you remember what are the criteria to judge whether a wine is qualitative or not? It's about intensity. It's about complexity, it's about the balance of the wine and the length of the wine. And I think here we clearly can tick these 4 criteria. We are in front of an outstanding wine, and it's the premium cuvée of Château de Pommard. So, with this wine, we didn't talk much about great pairing ideas. What would I pair it with this wine? Maybe you have some ideas and you can throw them, but I would probably pair it with game, like wild doe, wild birds. We could also pair it with tagine, couscous, and we could pair it with a T-bone steak, for example. What else? Also with Chinese cuisine, it's a good match with Beijing duck. There is a lot of options. What are your ideas? A kebab? Yes, why not? But that's a cheaper option. Oh, I see I have a question from Preston, who is not really clear about the difference between organic and biodynamic. There are actually a lot of difference. But let's say that what's common between the two is that we only use natural treatments, be it for organic or biodynamic. But the main difference is biodynamic is also taking into account the plant into the cosmos. And as you've seen in our animation, we are going to do the treatment at the right time, when the mood is in front of the right constellations. And also all the treatments we do are dynamized. That means we try to bring energy in the treatment, and they are done in very, very low quantity. A little bit like homeopathy or Chinese medicine. Any other comment from you? Oh, good idea. Maybe, yes, une mouette. I don't exactly know how to say in English, but with black olive, that could work. So now we've got our questions. First, what is special about the Clos Marémonge 2016 vintage? It's the first vintage produced biodynamically from Château de Pommard. It's a very sunny vintage, bringing concentration and complexity to the wine. It's the last vintage made by winemaker Emmanuel Sala, or it's produced from a single parcel of the Clos. The right answer is answer A. It's the first vintage produced biodynamically from Château de Pommard. So yes, 2016 was the year where they moved from organic to biodynamic. So I get a question, can you recognize a biodynamic wine in a glass? Actually, no. So far, no wine critic will be able to taste a wine and tell you this is biodynamic. But the whole point of having a biodynamic wine is to be closer to the terroir and to really reflect the terroir expression, the grape variety, the climate which is specific in Pommard at Clos Marémonge. Then, second question, food and wine pairing. What would you pair Pommard Clos Marémonge Monopole 2016 wine with? A mouette, a dozen of fresh oysters, a delicious sole meunière, a juicy lamb shank, or a spicy green curry? Answer C, yes. I would pair it with a juicy lamb shank. Why not D? Why not a spicy green curry? Well, because the spiciness would probably overwhelm the delicate flavors of Pinot Noir. As for fish, I would really recommend you to pair most of fishes with white wine. So for example, a delicious sole meunière would be a perfect pairing with the Ladois or Meursault. So we are about to close our experience today. I get a last question. Is it written in the wine? Actually, no. Sometimes it's written. There can be a label on it. It could be Demeter, Biodivin, or any other certification, depending on the country you are in. But most of the time, it's not written biodynamic on the wine label, no. So, and finally, last question, what is the difference between organic and natural wine? Well, natural wine is even more extreme. It means you don't have any additives into the wine when you transform it from grape to the wine. So that means we don't have any sulfites, we don't have any enological products to make the wine. So just the wine is done by itself. But sometimes the issue is that it's not really stable. So if you buy a natural wine that is coming from far away, you might detect some defaults because it's hard for them to travel around the world. So it's very different from being organic or biodynamic in the fact that there is absolutely no additive in the wine. Which is the case for organic and biodynamic. So please be aware that we can offer virtual wine experience on a large selection of French region. You can follow another experience with a wine advisor. It can be me, it can be one of my colleagues for a region, for like Bordeaux or Alsace or any other topic. So it's possible to find live courses like we just did, or you can find our courses as a replay, or you can even book a VIP one-on-one session with your personal wine advisor. So after that experience, I hope you enjoyed it. You can answer a quiz to get more points and a specific badge, and also to test your knowledge and measure your progress. So I hope you enjoyed this experience with me, and I hope to see you back soon. Bye bye.